my word. There's so many things. Let's check. Hello? Oh, it's buffering as well. Hello? It's saying live on there, but then it's not saying live on YouTube. Okay, so it's back. Oh my word, this is terrible. There's so many things I have to check, and I forget to check all of them, and that's one of them I have to remember to check. The audio. Oh, the chipmunk voice. Oh dear. Okay. That's a great start. Oh dear. Oh, okay, so maybe things can go ahead now. Oh dear. It's funny. When you do a new thing as well, everything's different and then you forget things, and that's funny. I forgot the chipmunk checking. Thank you for telling me as well. Baylor, thank you for telling me about the audio. Hopefully it's okay now. Funny. I'm a lot cooler now. Yes, thank you. So, just checking the... I have Skype on here as well. That would be a bit intrusive, hearing it twice. Let me just try and... No, I won't mess around with that. I'll leave it. Just check the title of the broadcast, and then, yes. I should know. I've wrote it like 3 times. The illusion of running. That's it. The illusion of running. Joshua's kindly lent us his room. So, the illusion of running. So what I feel that title is referring to is the illusion of movement, the illusion of moving through something, moving through time, moving through space. So in this waking reality, which is all there really is the waking reality. There isn't really a sleep reality, there's just waking reality. All we can ever know is this aliveness, this wakefulness. So in this waking reality, or appearance of wakefulness, that there seems to be movement, there seems to be change. There seems to be the ability to move, to run forward. So we see forms moving. So this body could start running, start at the house and start running down the street to the end of the street. And I would say, yes, there was movement. I moved. I was at one point and now I'm here at this point. That would only be in the ability to compare, so to look at or remember where I started from and compare that point to where I currently now am at the end of the street. So there does seem to be that ability, there does seem to be that appearance of movement, of something growing and changing. So it's not a denial of that appearing form, appearing changing, appearing movement. But what's being pointed out is that that is not true. It seems to be, it appears to be, we use language to describe that and we operate in that movement, but it's not true. It's not reality. We aren't moving anywhere. We aren't moving forward in time. It only seems that way by our ability to compare a beginning and an end, a past and a future, and a current moment. Whereas normally, in our reality as humans, it seems as if that is true and that's the only reality we know of, is this movement reality, this time-bound reality of story, of growth, of changingness, of flow. And we believe that that is real, and that is the reality, that's truth. That's the way things are. Things are moving and changing. But what's being described or pointed to in waking up, or whatever you want to call it, is pointing out the illusion or the not truth of that way of seeing things, of that reality. It isn't saying that reality isn't a functioning part of this, it's just saying that isn't the truth. It's pointing out an illusion. And that human suffering is stemming from this energetic belief in that being true, in that story of who you are, where you've been, where you're heading to, in that story of thought, in that story of dream and interpretation and language. They're all a part of this, but it's not inherently true. And that's quite a radical thing to point out, that you aren't, this sense of a you in the story land, in this dream, in this thought reality, this sense of you in your life and the world and how things are, that isn't a truth. Whereas that's been the solid ground. This whole sense of someone's growing up around this idea of this being the way it is, that I am someone, that thoughts are true, what thoughts are saying about me, other, the world, this experience is truth. It's such a radical thing to point out. That thought isn't the reality. That language isn't the reality. So what seems to be happening in parts of humanity, let's say, is this questioning of that. This message is being spoken more, is being talked about more. There's an alternative way of looking at things, or maybe the way we see things normally isn't the way it is. There's a questioning of the status quo. That's so effing beautiful. The questioning of the status quo. That human suffering has all been a part of a dream. A dream of I, a dream of being something, being a story in time. That doesn't mean there isn't pain or there isn't emotions or negativity. There is. That's just a part of this. It's a part of this. The opposites. But that's not suffering. Pain isn't suffering. Pain is pain. The seeming problem has been identification with that as who I am. This taking on of everything. This living as a dream. So then what does that mean? So there is still running, there is still movement. There is still hand moving, there is still feelings and thoughts and actions happening. But it doesn't belong to a timeline. It doesn't belong to a story. Although you could say it's all story, but there is just what's happening. And in describing, there's always story. But story can't be anything other than this, than what is happening. And this is the only thing that is longed for. It's the only thing. Doesn't mean the human doesn't want to have things. It has preferences. It wants to go and eat this meal. It wants to talk to this friend. It wants to go and buy this. But they're like superficial wanting. The real wanting is to be home, is to be at peace, is to be free. It's the natural desire to be free. My eyes are all funny. I have the laptop the light from the laptop glaring into yeah, it's perfect now. Thank you. Okay, so we're open for questions. I'll put Skype on. Hi, Rebekah. Oedipus, I think. Hi, Rebekah. Please tell me, as a non-duality teacher, are there reincarnations and karma? Thanks. Are there reincarnations and karma? I'll put my phone here and hopefully it's going to stay up. Yes. Oh, very good. Are there reincarnations and karma? These are all, I don't know, but these are all from, like, I think the Indian way of talking. So I'm not really familiar with what they mean by those particular descriptions. I've come across those terms, obviously, through reading and spirituality. And I think the general idea of reincarnation, at least the way that I interpreted it from what I read, was that first of all, there's an entity, so a soul, a being, an entity, and that would enter the body form and reincarnate and die and then reincarnate again into another form and live another life. That's the way I interpreted reincarnation to mean. But that would only really apply to the idea of there being a separate entity, a being that's living inside the form. So it's based around it's based upon there being this entity, this separate being, or this cloud form or something that continues to exist as a separate thing. It dies, the body dies, and then this separate being goes to heaven or something, or a place of waiting for another body to be born, and then it enters the new body and lives. So that just doesn't feel, it doesn't feel as if that's the way it is. But I do feel like it doesn't mean it's not true either. Like it feels as if like there is this circling action, this circling of the universe or of life, this spiraling around. And then when you look at your family members, maybe the older family members, you see similarities. You'll see certain traits that have passed through the family, certain behaviors that are, like, you could say circling, being passed on genetically, behaviorally. So it does seem as if there's some kind of, I can relate to that. And also even here, there are memories of what you would call a past life aspects of it. So I'm not opposed to the idea of things being passed on and returning and returning and returning. I'm not opposed to it at all, because it can't ever disappear. It's always changing and moving. The forms, it's always doing that. But I don't see it as being tied to a person or an entity. Just yeah, I don't know what to call it. Yeah. And then karma, I think karma is a similar thing. So certain behaviors will result in certain behaviors, basically. So it's like, again, a passing on. So it feels like a similar thing, really. What was the question? Yeah. So, I mean, was that helpful to you? I don't know. I don't know what the point in asking that is. I mean, why do you want to know whether there's reincarnations of karma if you're trying to get rid of it or trying to heal it or change it? I'm not sure what you're asking, really. But so yeah, I would agree that there may be those things passed on, but like, it isn't a problem. It isn't your karma or your reincarnation. It isn't a personal thing. The behaviors of the body or the genetics or the conditioning that's passed on. Like, it isn't yours. It isn't something that you have to, like, worry about. Or if there is a certain karma you might have, or a behavior that you've inherited or something, or even just like that's formed during this lifetime, if you have that, then maybe you might want to ease it out. So maybe doing some kind of therapy or some kind of meditation or body work. Or like, I have I stutter, and I have other issues as well. Getting the list out, right? We all do. All bodies have stuff. We have stuff, whether passed on or whether created in this life. Experiences happen and they affect things and change things. what was the point? So yeah, you might want to like relax some of those things or release some of those things. And that's natural. That's such a natural thing to want to have an easier experience of being human. I feel like when you get into, not always, but when you get into this subject, normally for a lot of humans getting into it because there's something that they can't handle about living. I remember an old friend of mine said that people get into religion to avoid living. They can't deal with life. That was definitely the way it happened here. I couldn't deal with being alive and living. And so reaching to spirituality or non-duality was a way of getting out of living, out of the difficulties of living, of being this character, of being, yeah, this form, or being this in this situation, or having this conditioning, or whatever it is. So yeah, so you reach for a numbing thing, whether it be a drug, a physical drug, or whether it be a belief system, or like a mental thing to escape from the human difficulties you might have. And that's natural. It's natural. But this is okay. This is okay. And it's like a relaxing into this, a relaxing of that. Fear, the fear of living, the fear of being alive, being everything. The issue was always in you living. That was the issue. This sense of you being alive, the sense of you having to handle all of this. But there's a natural intelligence. This is intelligence. It doesn't need like a mental abstraction to control it. This is it. What you've longed for is here. It's this. It's this. It's this. Without you. Just this. Just this. Might have ignored your question a little bit, Oedipus. But yeah, feel free to add more or ask more if I've ignored your actual question. Oh, the birds are singing. The Baylor. Just Baylor. Hi, Baylor. Hi, Rebecca. Oh, it's a long question. Could you please help me understand what this life is all about? I was born into a Muslim family, have tried many paths, including Buddhism, Hinduism, etc., but was never satisfied with any of them, maybe. I am new to non-duality, and from what I have heard so far from you, seems to resonate with me. How is this different from religions? Oh, great question. How is this different from religion? Well, first of all, I'll say that this could also be religion. If you believe it, if you believe what words someone is saying to you, then it can become a religion. And you follow the words and you believe the words and you live by the words you've heard, then it can be also a religion, the religion of non-duality, the no one here religion. It can be a religion, yes. But like all religions, probably what's being spoken about ultimately, or the primary message of the religion or of the teaching or of the whatever you want to call it, is quite a profound pointing, or so what is it? Let me just reread the question. Yeah. So what is different about this? Well, what is being spoken of in this message, in so-called religions, is, according to this interpretation, is that there isn't someone separate. There isn't someone separate. So normally in religion, there is an authority figure. There is someone up there somewhere higher and separate. And then there's something which you are, is a separate being, separate from that authority figure. And your whole quest, your whole journey is about moving from being this separate person here to reach this ultimate authority figure. Whereas what this is pointing to, I really feel this has always been the message in all religions, actually. It's really beautiful. that this isn't a separate reality, that there isn't something up here higher and something over here, that you aren't someone here, there isn't someone separate, this isn't divided into two, and that whole experience of this being divided into two things, so you are here, the other is out there, you are here, the world is out there, you are here, the almighty being is up there, that experience isn't true. That dream isn't true. That's what's being said ultimately. That's what's being expressed. That it's not true. There aren't two beings. There isn't separation. So in humans, it seems that way, it appears that way. In trees, there doesn't seem to be that sense of separation. In animals, it doesn't seem to happen. The chair doesn't have a sense of being separate or existing as something separate. Only humans with our complicated, complex brain faculties seems to produce this idea of someone, this sense of I being localized to a position only seems to happen in human beings. And so this message is heard, whether it be in religion or being in a book or being a talk, it can be heard. And something resonates with that. Something hears. It's like a call home. This is a dream. This isn't true. Who are you? It's like an amazing call in the darkness of being someone, of being alone and separate in the world. It's not true. Find out who you are. It's a beautiful call. And then a whole journey can begin. A journey, obviously in a dream, but a journey begins of this story character trying to find the answer to that, trying to find who's calling, let me get to that caller. This whole journey begins. Like on a journey, we call it the spiritual journey. And you find books and you find teachers and you go on retreats and you go to talks and you realize things and understand things and pull things apart and try to, all these different things seem to happen. You meditate, you look at your childhood, you try and do all kinds of things. And still there's that call saying it's not true. That reality isn't true. That reality of you on a journey is not true. And I have no idea. And I have no idea what happens, but that whole that whole dream can be popped or seen through. The whole dream of that person, that whole story of someone on a journey can be seen through. And it's like, seen through by who? Who sees through that? And the only answer is that which is calling. The only thing, the only non-thing that there is. And it can't be called anything. It can't be named. We try to give it a name, but it can't really be named. Whatever name it has or we speak of, it's again back in the land of dreaming, of thoughts, of language. It can't be gotten hold of by thoughts or thinking or language, by the intellect. And yet it's beaming, it's shining, it's all things. It's all things, and yet also not a thing. You can't find it as a thing. That's limitation. It's all things. It's all things. All thoughts, all feelings, all actions. So it's a really mysterious thing. It's a really mysterious thing. The whole thing is just mysterious, how all this happens. The body wakes up, thoughts begin, actions begin, the room appears. It's just, the whole thing's mysterious. The whole play of existence seems to just play without rhyme or reason. It just happens. But what's longed for is freedom, and it's not found in the happenings. It's not found in the seeming appearance, the seeming movement. The freedom is what you are. It's what this is. It's freedom. It's all things. And not a thing. Thanks, Rebecca. Seems I have been hearing this call for so long, many years, but could not find the caller. No. Unfindable. And yet, I mean, it's unfindable, and yet it's also not findable, but it is findable. It's not findable, but it is. It just is. You can't find it because there isn't a you to find it. It is all things, and therefore it's unfindable. But I want to say it's findable because it is. It's all there is that. But yeah, not findable. Yeah, I could not find the caller. I never for once believed what others were preaching. This message comes close to me, so beautiful and grateful. Yeah, really grateful. Yeah, it's beautiful. Message of freedom, message of peace, of love, of fulfillment, of completion. It's really beautiful. Really beautiful. Message of home. I like the word home. I think it's really beautiful. I think inherently there's this feeling of losing home, of missing something. So I like the word home. Thank you for your question. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so it's been really lovely to spend the hour doing this. And it's worked really well, apart from the initial chipmunking at the beginning. So yeah, we'll try again next Thursday at 6 again, 6 p.m. UK time. So you can join again then for next week's stream. Thanks for your questions and for joining in and for, you know. Okay, that's some love. Bye.